Light is the hope to all who seek. Light is the way when moments are bleak. So look up to the skies. The light is Jesus Christ, and all who we seek will find. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Dear friends, let me introduce to you our topic of the day. I will speak today on a subject which is very dear to us from our birth till our death. It is something which is very relevant, useful and favorite to all of us. It is none other than our own home, the nature. So, the title of this talk is Touching Nature, Touching Lives. Nature is the only place in the universe where life is found in abundance. Without nature, our survival is impossible. We depend totally on the proper functioning of the planet for our survival. For the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food that sustains us, and the multiple other ways in which the earth sustains every creature that lives in it. I invite you to join me in this journey together to make this world a better place. In order to make this reflection orderly and harmoniously like nature, I have divided it into three main parts. First, Bible and creation. Second, Church's teachings on the care of nature. And third, our responsibility towards nature. First, Bible and creation. Nature is one of God's beautiful creation. Through nature, God is able to speak to us, to teach us, and to provide for us. For this reason, we can find in Scripture that we humans are called to protect everything and everyone that God has created. At the very beginning of the Bible, in the book of Genesis 1:1-2, we find, in the beginning, when God created heavens and earth, the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep, while a wind from God swept over the face of the water. This implies that from the beginning, God fashions a habitable nature from an inhabitable and lifeless wasteland. Every mighty act of God gives out a beautiful facet of creation, and God saw it was good. There is a progressive plan used by God in the process of creation. However, one has to note that the first man was created out of the earth, that is, dust of the ground. Adama means from the earth. This shows that there is a very intimate connection between human being and every aspect of creation. Hence, whether we accept the theory of creation or the theory of evolution, human being is the summit of the creative and evolutive process under the supervision of God. Further, man and woman created in the image and likeness have the indispensable vocation towards a three-dimensional relationship, namely relationship with God because God is the creator, relationship with human beings because human beings are created with equal dignity and respect, and relationship with nature because human beings are made co-creators and are given the obligation to have dominion over the earth and to subdue it. Whenever one of three relationships is broken, there is rupture, which we call sin. When this happens, when the human being tries to play the role of God and misinterprets the command, have dominion and subdue it, the human beings, instead of becoming co-creators with God to protect, respect, and develop the creation, becomes a destructor, misuser, and abuser of the creation for his greedy and selfish designs. The whole history of salvation is a constant struggle to maintain this harmony in these triple relationships. However, God is faithful partner in the covenantal relationship. In the story of the great flood, Genesis chapter 7, God decides to destroy everything but commands Noah to protect 7 pairs of animals and birds. This shows that even when human beings are most corrupt, God does not want to destroy fully His nature and creation. In the prologue to the Gospel, according to John, we find that everything God created was by means of Logos, the Word. Jesus has a close relationship with nature because He went about on foot through the fields, on the hills, and through the mountains. And some of His disciples were fishermen, a life closely connected with water. His parables were mainly related to nature. Jesus' temptations, His baptisms, His death, His resurrections are in the context of nature. Second, Church's teachings on the care of nature. From the beginning of Christianity, the relationship between God and environment is highlighted. In the Nicene Creed, God is believed to be the creator of everything that is seen and unseen. However, when the destruction of the environment began to advance in leaps and bounds, the Pope began to address the topic of the protection of the nature in various documents. The concern towards environment was understood as part of the social doctrine of the Church. It was during the pontificate of Pope John Paul II that the Compendium of the Social Doctrine of the Church was published in 2004. Pope Benedict XVI was nicknamed as the Green Pope. However, it was Pope Francis who can be said to be the first Pope to address this topic on ecology at length, breadth, and depth. His two documents, namely Laudato Si in 2015 and Querida Amazonia in 2020, highlights the seriousness of the ecological problem. He does not understand the ecological problem as an ecological problem in itself, but its consequences on human life and living. The destruction of nature is the destruction of humanity, and the protection of nature is the protection of humanity. Pope Francis has instituted the World Day of Prayer for the care of creation, which is from September 1st to October 4th, the feast of Saint Francis of Assisi. Dear friends, I would like to present to you a summary of the teachings on ecology of Pope Francis that he gave on different occasions in 7 points. First, God always forgives. We men forgive sometimes, but nature never forgives. If you give her a slap, she will give you one. We have exploited nature too much. The Pope wants to emphasize that God and human beings can forgive, but nature strikes back. Second, as stewards of God's creation, we are called to make the earth a beautiful garden for the human family. When we destroy our forest, ravage our soil, pollute our seas, we betray that noble calling. The Pope wants to remind us that we have a vocation to protect nature because we are co-creators with God. Third, a Christian who doesn't safeguard creation, who doesn't make it flourish, is a Christian who isn't concerned with God's work, that work born of God's love for us. The Pope recalls that God is love, and we are the bearers of love as disciples of Jesus Christ. Fourth, may the relationship between man and nature not be driven by greed to manipulate and exploit, but may the divine harmony between beings and creation be conserved in the logic of respect and care. The Pope teaches that there exists an inborn, intimate relationship between human beings and the nature, which has to be enhanced by sustainable development. Fifth, the earth, our home, is beginning to look more and more like an immense pile of filth. In many parts of the planet, the elderly lament that once beautiful landscapes are now covered with rubbish. The Pope shares the experience as well as the cry of the elderly people who remember with nostalgia the clean surroundings of their younger days. Sixth, we receive this world as an inheritance from past generations, but also as a loan from future generations, to whom we will have to return it. The Pope reminds that the universe is God's gift for humanity and not the possession of one generation. Hence, the well-being of the future generation is the responsibility of the present generation. Let us remember the humble yet bold plea of Greta Thunberg for climate change. Seventh, our common home is being pillaged, laid waste, and harmed with impunity. Cowardice in defending it is a grave sin. the Pope confronts the present humanity with a challenge to raise the prophetic voice, to act with courage against those who are on the rampage to destroy our common home. Those who support the destruction commit a grave sin. The Pope's intention for the month of September was respect for the planet's resources. Third, our responsibility. Dear friends, as human beings and as a Christians, we have the responsibility to protect, defend, and enrich our common home. This responsibility emerges from the intimate bonding between human life and nature. In Indian tradition, human body is composed of 5 basic elements, namely earth, water, fire, wind, and space. When these elements are polluted or corrupted, the human body itself is polluted and corrupted, which causes sickness of the body and mind. The degradation of the nature results into degradation of human health. We are in the midst of the COVID-19 and everyone is waiting for the vaccine to stop the pandemic. Although everyone knows that such viruses get activated because of destruction of the environment, human attitude towards nature continues to be murderous. Hence, it is but necessary that every human being assumes responsibility to protect the nature. When we protect nature, we are not doing a favor to nature. On the contrary, we are doing favor to ourselves. The year 2020 is declared by the United Nations as the International Year of Plant Health. It is not only plants but the health of the whole of creation and nature that needs to be protected. I will now request Seminarian Ryan Mascarenas, who has done his BSc in Agriculture, to share with you how the Rashol Seminary is making efforts to protect, respect, and enhance nature.
Dear friends, we at the seminary give prime importance towards the protection and sustenance of nature. Every year, we cultivate paddy in the fields, wherein priests and seminarians are involved in transplanting and management. Usually, we follow traditional method of transplanting. That is, we raise the nursery for about 21 days and transplant 3 to 4 paddy seedlings per hill at a distance of 10 cm. This year, we have tried the SRI method of transplanting, that is, system of rice intensification on a marked portion of land. In this method, we have used 12-day-old seedlings and have transplanted 1 to 2 seedlings per hill, maintaining plant to plant and row to row distance of 25 centimeters. Early transplanting induces a greater number of tillers, and wider spacing helps the plant to grow more efficiently because of the easy flow of air, water, and nutrients, thus improving the quality and quantity of the yield. We hope for a better yield with this SRI method. Besides the paddy fields, the other cultivable parts around the seminary are utilized to grow vegetables. we seminarians toil hard with commitment in maintaining our seminary kitchen garden. This year, during Kharif season, that is, during rainy season, we have cultivated ladyfingers, cucumbers, pumpkins, ash gourds, snake gourds, reach gourds, bitter gourds, long yard beans, ivy gourds, and other vegetables. We have also introduced the rotation system in some parts of the area. That is, the banana plantation has been replaced by paddy. This helps the soil to replenish in terms of nutrients, as banana plants are heavy nutrient feeders and depletes the soil. Hence, the cultivation of paddy rejuvenates the soil. This rotation method helps in maintaining nutrient status of the soil as well as controls pest and disease incidents. Once the paddy is harvested, during Rabi season, we utilize the same fields for the cultivation of cowpeas, cluster beans, chilies, brinjals, along with seasonal vegetables like amaranthus, radish, and knoll cole. We also cultivate maize and marigold as trap crops. Every year, we also do some experimentation. We cultivate crops that are usually not grown in our Goan agroclimatic conditions. For example, in the past years, we have successfully cultivated beetroot, cauliflower, and cabbage. This year, we have plans of cultivating carrots. Along with vegetables, we also take care and manage fruit crops like pineapples, bananas, papayas, chikus, and mangoes. This year, we have grown spice crops like cinnamon and black pepper. At our seminary, we have a well-maintained piggery where we, seminarians, are involved in their cleaning and feeding. We rear both Yorkshire as well as local breeds of pigs. We are planning to start an egg-laying poultry as well as a dairy. The produce will be used for domestic consumption, while the cow dung and cow urine can be used for organic farming. If we, as seminarians, are trained to take care of our nature, we are also concerned about its sustenance. Garbage has been an issue that harms our nature very badly. We at the seminary try to manage our waste wisely. Our wet kitchen waste is usually used as feed for the pigs. Other inconsumable kitchen waste, along with farm waste, is utilized in composting. Once monsoon ends, we have plans of starting vermicomposting. We take utmost care in segregation and disposition of our dry garbage. We collect all the garbage produced in the house and segregate it regularly at source into hard plastic, soft plastic, tetra packs, paper, hard paper, glass, metals, etc. and give it to the recyclers. We try to avoid non-biodegradable and non-recyclable materials in the seminary, especially for decoration purposes. Instead of thermocol, we use cardboard, tissue paper, newspapers, etc. to produce stage and other decorations. As seminarians, we are given an integral formation, and care for nature is one of the important dimensions of our formation to priesthood, so that when we become priests, we will be witnesses of the love for nature in our parishes, thereby touching lives of many by touching nature.
Dear friends, as I conclude this lecture, I wish to make a humble appeal. First, be convinced that we are stewards of nature and not the creators of nature. Second, remember that we have a vocation to protect, respect, and enhance nature. Third, raise your prophetic voice against those who destroy nature and extend your helping hand to the honest nature lovers and protectors. Finally, if one of us plant a sapling in our garden or in our backyard or even in a shoebox if you are living in a flat, we will make a difference because by touching nature, we will be touching lives. Thank you and God bless you.